So welcome everybody, and this is our monthly refresher webinar. It is, what is it, October 12th or something like that? Yep, and I don't have any slides today, so I'm gonna kind of wing it a little bit and improvise, but did want to acknowledge some of the losses we have had in the system with folks leaving and a reduction, a layoff, whatever you want to call it. And I know that has affected many of us, some direct ways and some indirect ways, and may even be causing a bit of uncertainty and anxiety. So we're actually, my colleague and I, Vivian Burgle and I, are planning to do 4 classes on anxiety. They will be starting the beginning of November. So I'll send something out to the group that I usually send out to email, and you'll see things on the intranet article we'll probably have, and you'll see something announced in the HR News to Use, and hopefully within a day or so, I'm going to have it posted. Let's go into my next video here. Hopefully in a day or so, we'll have it posted. Let me stop that. Oh, it did come up. Okay. So now we got a fireplace. You guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, we'll post that when we get it set. There are going to be 4 individual classes. They'll all be the same, so we're just going to have different times. But the idea is that we want to talk a little bit about anxiety and ways to be aware of it, ways to get treatment for it, resources that are available through employee and family resources, but other resources as well. And of course, mindful ways to try to tone it down or to change our relationship to it. And so today I'm actually going to, the second meditation today will be an anxiety related meditation. The first one we're going to do is going to be on just a simple breath meditation to help relax us. So as these scroll through, I'm just going to keep up some nice images. You all see that now. This is sunrise at New Smyrna Beach a couple of years ago. So the other thing to just say about all that is part of the mindful skill of just dealing with difficult emotions is bringing awareness to it and noticing how it shows up in our mind, in our body, in our thoughts, in our feelings, and being able to be with it, being able to not necessarily have to push it away or to, kind of get rid of it. So that's kind of the idea of that. Now, another class that I'm going to be starting is a 4-week mindfulness class, and you all might be interested in that. And that's going to be on Tuesdays at 12:30 for 4 weeks. And that is a 4-week class starting November 1st. I'll put out a notice about that too. And that'll also be posted on LMS. So it's going to be 4 weeks. The first week is on relaxation and resetting. The second week is on focusing. The third week is on stress and how to get better at stress. And the fourth week is on connecting with others. So those, wanted you to know about those coming up soon. So let's do a quick pause before we do anything else, and then we'll kind of open it up and see if anybody has any questions or thoughts or comments on how you're doing and how your practice is going. But first, let's just pause. So as we look at this scene, it's actually my mom's backyard. in Maine. You can keep your eyes open or closed if you want to keep them open to kind of be tuning into that. Pause it there. Just sort of notice what's going on for you. Do sort of an internal weather check. How am I doing today is kind of the question. And when you do that, just sort of noticing what comes up. Thoughts that might arise. Feelings that might be present. Sensations that might be calling out to you from your body. And then turning our attention to the breath and taking a few nice, long, deep breaths. Letting the out breath be longer than the in breath. Feeling the air enter and fill. And then feeling it leave the body and allowing us to relax and release. And if our minds distract us and thoughts pop in or other mental activity hijacks our attention, just simply letting go of that and returning back to our focus on the breath. And then the last step is to open up your awareness, sort of using a wide angle lens, being aware of your whole body sitting, being aware of your whole body breathing, and just being aware in a more open and expansive way of whatever is here and now. And that's a 3-minute breathing space, and you can open your eyes if you've had them closed. And I'm going to stop the share for this and just pull up and say hi to everybody, and give you a chance to say hi, and let me know if anybody wants to share a little bit of how you're doing or how your practice is going, what's going on in your mindfulness internal life. And I can see my video is still not working. I don't know why. It's weird. But my computer's not working. So you can all hear me, right? Good.
Yes.
Yes.
Good, good, good. So how's it going for you guys? Anybody have any comments or want to share a little bit of what's it been like for you?
Oh, Carmen, you're talking, but we don't hear you. Unless she's talking to someone at work. Maybe she is.
Maybe she is, yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
I want to share a little small. This is Sheila.
Hey, Sheila.
Hi. So I was on a cruise a couple of weeks ago, and we were chasing Hurricane Ian. So the sea got a little rough.
Ooh.
And I started getting, anxious. And I literally used the breathing techniques to calm myself down. And it really worked.
Great.
It was a great help.
Tell me a little bit. I'm curious. That's wonderful. Tell me a little bit more of how you did it. How you like. Where did you sit? How did you?
I sat on my bed.
Yeah.
I channeled all my energy into my breathing, into my thought. Then I did the first breath, hold for a second, then take a larger breath after that, hold for 3 seconds, and then exhale. That's the one I did. And it honestly helped to calm me down. I kept doing it, and
Good.
it was miraculous.
It really is miraculous how effective the breath and other techniques can work. And that's a great, I'm so glad you shared that, Sheila, because it's a great testament to what we're going to be talking about today when really both meditations can help with anxiety. And that's such a good example of being, out on open waters and having a little rough seas. And, we use that metaphor sometimes even in our meditation about using the anchor of the breath or the body to kind of ground us and not let the mind do its crazy little thing and get us more amped up and anxious about what's going on. So great job. Anybody else have any other experiences that maybe they've used any of the practices with, or anything like that anybody would like to share?
I like to share, Bud. I'm Roberta, and we've had someone affected by the layoff, the restructuring, in one of the groups that I'm in a committee.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real shock, and it caused, anxiety, fear. Is it going to happen to me?
Yeah.
And we actually had time together in our committee to have no agenda and just talk about what people felt. And it was helpful. And someone mentioned it's called the Layoff Survivor Syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of it?
Yep.
Layoff Survivor Syndrome.
Yep, sure.
And I had never heard of it before, but I was intrigued and I looked it up. And it causes grief, anxiety, anger, guilt to those that are left behind, and it can have negative inputs on our well-being. So, I'm just trying to be in a place of acceptance and gratefulness that I have my job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was driving to work this morning and looking at the trees, the gorgeous colors of fall, and appreciating the beauty that's around and the warmth of the day, and having my job. So, this is bigger than us. What happened, it's bigger than us. And I can't stay in sadness and the anger about it, right? I don't understand it. It happened. And I mean, I do understand on some level, but this person was phenomenal, to lose someone that's amazing to me. And just this great energy, positive, involved. And so it's so hard to understand how we could lose someone like that.
Yeah, thank you, Roberta. I appreciate you bringing that up, and you touched on a number of great points. Number one, just acknowledging the range of feelings, and particularly the sadness and the loss, and that survivor's guilt and other feelings that, as we think about it and worry about it and what's next and all that kind of stuff. And the mind can really go off on a pretty bad spiral. So, I love that exercise of just being aware, and that's a great way to kind of center ourselves, looking at the beauty of nature and sensing the body, and then bringing gratitude to your mind. And that's a great way to kind of stop that cycle. So, and the other thing that I love that you said about sharing in that group, I was in a couple of sessions myself, and it is helpful. It's helpful. It may kind of, in the midst of it, might feel like this feels lousy, and we feel crummy about it, and brings the sadness to the surface. But all the studies, all the research really shows, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is that it's better to be in touch with it, to acknowledge it, to not completely try to avoid it or numb it or stuff it. And that's what you did. So that's good. And I see Michelle in the chat said, glad you made it today. Glad you made it too. Haven't been mindful in a while, and I noticed the stress level go up recently. So that's a great reminder, that's a natural thing to happen, where we fall out of the mindfulness practices perhaps, and we notice the stress and other things impact on us. And so just making the recommitment to begin doing some more again, and coming here today and getting back into the swing of things. So I can see Rose says, I've been faithfully using the Insight Timer. Yep, good. It's great to have an app like that where you can really rely on and get some good meditations from. I feel much more relaxed. I was with my sister Diana this past weekend, and there were stressful times we both were able to breathe good. And boy, that's great. Be able to do it with somebody too. That's a good lesson as well. And a good lesson at work, especially with the ups and downs and the uncertainties and what's going to happen next, to have a mindful buddy, have somebody that you can connect with and take a walk with and breathe with and be grateful with and cry with and be sad with. I mean, it's a lot easier if we do it together, right? And in fact, that's, I mentioned that class I'm going to be doing coming up. That's the 4th class, is on the importance of connection and finding somebody to be with as we do go through all this that life brings us. All right, good. Well, any last comments before I move on with, as I said, I don't have any slides today. I was actually away for the weekend at a conference, and a conference that was in person with other people. So it was really, really great, and traveled back on Monday. So yesterday was like catching up with stuff, and I just didn't get to putting slides together, but I do have sort of an outline of what I want to do. But any other last thoughts before I move on to that? All right, well, thank you for sharing. And what I was going to do next as our first meditation is to do something on just simply relaxing. And this is a simple breath meditation. And I think you'll see, hopefully it'll give you some relaxation and give you a chance to just relax the mind and the body, which is a great way to kind of set the stage for calming ourselves down when there is a lot of anxiety in the air. And of course, when we really begin to look at what is out there and what can be affecting our mood and not just our anxious feelings, but all the other feelings, I won't even go into them all because that'll just make us more anxious. But there's plenty of anxiety-provoking situations in the world these days, which to me just really means that it's that much more important to do some things to, take control of it, take control of how we respond to it, right? That's really and one way is to relax the mind and the body. So let's do this meditation on breathing. And just with a quick intro, breathing has many benefits. We're going to explore how to be naturally aware of the breathing in a way to relax the mind and body. And this can be useful in and of itself, but it also can be a starting point and help us with a range of skills like concentration, wisdom, and compassion. So let's begin by taking a comfortable posture, one that is stable and balanced and relaxed, but also where you can be in the moment and alert. You can close your eyes, but you can also keep them slightly open if you prefer. That's perfectly fine. If you do that, I would suggest looking down in front of you, sort of to a spot with unfocused gaze. And let's take a few slow, deep breaths in and out through the mouth, rather in through the nose and out through the mouth. When you breathe out with a slow, even, thin stream of air, kind of like you're blowing out through a straw. So breathing in through the nose, nice and deep. Breathing out through the mouth with a slow, even, thin stream of air. Do that a couple more times. Now set an intention to put any thoughts of the past or the future aside. Any memories, plans, worries, or anxieties that might be lurking in the background, put them aside. And right now, all you have to do is be here and relax. The rest can wait. Feel your feet on the floor, the contact your body makes with the chair. Notice what it feels like, the sensations of maybe it's hard or soft or some pressure or weight. See if you can let the weight of your body sink into the chair. And see if you can let your attention rest here for the next few moments, steadying your attention through the body in the present moment. Now, in your own time, begin to notice the rhythm of your breathing. There's no reason to bear down or narrow your focus to a specific point. For now, just see if you can be aware of the process of your breathing. What lets you know that you're breathing? Where do you feel it? And as you breathe in, you might notice sensations of swelling, lifting, or expanding. As you breathe out, you may sense some loosening, releasing, or a sense of letting go. Let your awareness begin to synchronize with your breathing. Paying a little more attention with that feeling of settling and relaxing on the out breath. And explore this on your own for a bit, tuning into the rhythm and sensations of breathing. Try not to be bothered by thoughts, images, or memories. But whenever you notice that the mind is tangled up in thinking, see if you can just pause, slow down, and wait. And let your attention come back to the breath and the body on its own. How we pay attention to the breath is very important. If we relate to it with a sense of pressure, intensity, or force, the breath carries those qualities into the body, which begins to feel tight, cramped, or pressurized. If we approach the breath with a sense of spaciousness, with a light and easy attention, it begins to carry those qualities into the body, which begins to feel light, open, and spacious. So see if you can bring a light, relaxed awareness to the breathing. You don't have to try too hard or force it. It's even fine if the mind wanders a bit. But see if you can get this attitude of relaxed, easy curiosity dialed in. And we can deepen this relaxation by sensitizing our awareness to the body and feeling how the breath moves through us. So as you sit, notice how tall your body is. Feel how the torso rises up from the ground, and allow your spine to extend upwards ever so slightly. Notice if the breath lifts the chest or the torso even slightly. And does it sink or settle as you breathe out? Keep tuning into that gentle, steady rhythm, letting the breath move through the body, breathing in, receiving the breath, letting it come to you, breathing out, just letting go. As the meditation begins to come to a close, you can bring your attention back to those simple, steady sensations of contact. Your feet on the floor, your bottom in the chair, your arms and hands resting. And in your own time, you can allow your eyes to open if they've been closed. Begin taking in the space around you, reconnecting. And remember, you can tune into the breath like this anytime, allowing the rhythm and sensation to calm and steady your mind and body. Thanks for your practice. All right, thank you, folks. That was the first one. Hope you found that relaxing. Any comments? You can just put in the chat if you'd like. Any thoughts about what that was like for you? Feel free again to put a word or two in the chat. So I'm going to continue. I have this article. It's called "Anxiety is Not the Problem," and it's based from 10% Happier, which is an app that or a pod. There's also a good podcast. But it's by a Dr. Luana Marquez, and she's a clinical psychologist and researcher at Harvard. And she talks about just the anxiety, and we've talked about this in a lot of our sessions. It's the same thing as stress. You know, stress isn't really the thing that causes us. In other words, the stressful event doesn't cause us stress. It's how we react to it. It's how we internalize it. It's our perspective on it, right? So it's the same kind of thing. When we get anxious, the amygdala, the threat center of the brain, turns on, which in turn turns off our prefrontal cortex. That's the thinking executive part of the brain. And as a result, we see the world in a distorted way. And we begin to misinterpret information as threat and believe that our thoughts are facts. In other words, our thoughts kind of run away with us and we get caught up in that spiral of thinking. So again, you know, what we've done in the past is we've tuned into our thinking to see what we're saying to ourselves about how we interpret that stressor. So the other thing, which in the article, she points out that the Teb cycle, TEB. So T is thoughts, E is emotions, and B is behavior. So basically it comes down to, again, we've done this in some of the classes. So looking at our thoughts with an attitude of curiosity, exploring the thoughts without getting caught up in them, you know, being aware of thoughts as they come and go, realizing that thoughts are not facts, and then seeing how that relates to emotions and asking yourself, how do you feel right now? We did this in the beginning, that first pause I did. We looked at thoughts, feelings, and what's going on in the body. So we tune into the emotions. We pause just so that we can slow down the anxiety cycle and be able to notice what's going on in our thoughts and our feelings. And then finally, with the last part of it is behavior. We ask ourselves, what am I doing now and how might I change that? Often when we're anxious, the behavioral response is to avoid or push it away or, you know, get rid of whatever makes us anxious. And the avoidance is really kind of what gets in. That's the troubling part, really. I mean, when we avoid it, it's still there. But so part of what we're doing, and you'll see how this works in the last meditation, is noticing it. Noticing what we're saying to ourselves, noticing the feelings that are present, noticing how it shows up in the body, and, you know, maybe deciding, okay, stepping back from it, not being triggered by it, but bringing online the rest of the brain and the mindfulness of that, and then being able to say, okay, what's the next best thing for me to do in response to this? How can I take care of myself? What do I need in this moment? And maybe you need to take some action, that's fine, but maybe you also need to just be kinder to yourself, or to, you know, do something. Maybe you need to talk to somebody about the emotional response. So she closes the article by saying, I found that I actually like anxiety because it helps me know what's going on. It's a signal that something is up and requires attention, and it actually becomes a friend. And again, that reminds me of the stress video, which I've shown in classes on how to make stress your friend. And it's the same basic concept, that we realize that stress or anxiety are signals to our body to help us not be triggered by it, number one, step back from it and be able to mindfully choose what we're able to do about that. So the last meditation, which we'll finish with, is it's from the Taming Anxiety. So let's start now. Let's just, again, take a posture that's upright and alert, one that's easy to maintain during the meditation. And this one, actually, We're going to start with our eyes open. I'm going to bring up another share. The video proceed. So with your eyes open, turning your head to the side, take a breath in. And then use a full out breath and turn your head in the opposite direction, keeping your eyes open as you continue. And then breathing in again, turning your head to the other side. Breathing in and out again, turning to the other side, slowly just synchronizing your breathing with turning your head side to side. Letting the visual field anchor you in the present moment. Now bringing your head back to center and pause and lift the chin just a bit to notice the space above you. And then bringing your head back down to center. And just being aware and sensing how much space is around your body. And when you're ready, let your eyes rest. You can either keep them open now, or you can close them, whichever you're most comfortable with. And as you ease into this practice, begin to find your anchor, that place in your body where you feel a sense of ease. And the anchor can be found by feeling into the stillness. Okay, just a little pause there. Sorry about that. Now place a hand just below the belly button and let yourself breathe into this area. Let the rhythm of your breath quiet the nervous system. And as your body settles, allow sound to become the object of your meditation. No need to go looking for sound, just see what falls upon your ears. It's common for us to attach a name or a memory or even a strong emotion when we hear a sound. See if you can pause and be curious about what's actually happening. Can you know if the sound is near or far away? Is it high-pitched or dull? Is there a rhythm to it? Is the body tightening up, or is there a softening in response to the sound? And what about now? What is the story we've made up about the sound? Take a few moments to notice if your mind made up a story in response to sounds in your environment. What about now? How has the story changed, if at all? As we sit here, let's come back to the breath. Tuning into that same gentle rhythm and steadiness that we did in the first meditation. Letting the breath anchor us. And noticing if there are thoughts and emotions that capture our attention, even if those may be bringing up something that's a little bit stressful or anxious. You can think of something, if you like, that's going on that might bring up a little bit of stress or anxiety, something mild or moderate. And it's really your choice. If you don't want to, you can just really focus on the breath and keep that anchor going. But if you do get in touch with something that brings up a little bit of anxiety, just noticing, just pausing and noticing thoughts that arise. Feelings that may be present. And what's going on in the body? What do you notice? What sensations are there? What captures your attention in the body? And if you notice that stress or anxiety causes a little bit of tension somewhere, or tightness or contraction, feel free to breathe into that area. Feel free to soften and relax so that you kind of breathe in and breathe out, letting the body relax and release. And then letting the anchor of the breath or the body steady you. And help you feel calm and connected. You're practicing being able to know when your anxiety is rising in your body, to pause, and then turn towards it with curiosity and ask yourself, is this really true? Does it need to be attended to right now? Is this urgent, or can I watch it arise and pass away? When you're ready, you can deepen the breath again, knowing that when there is contact between this body and the floor, you can feel anchored. And begin to slowly open your eyes if they were closed, perhaps looking around the environment and orienting yourself to your space. And I hope this practice has been helpful to you. And please begin to challenge your inner narratives by opening all of your senses to see what is true. Be well. Take good care of yourself. So folks, that's the end of the mindfulness refresher today. I want to thank you, and I'll be here for a minute or two as I am going to finish the recording, and I'll send it out later. But any last thoughts, any questions? I see some of you put in the chats how the first meditation was. I appreciate that. Feel free to share that with me about the second one. I'm curious as to know how that was for you. And thanks again. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope you have a great rest of your day.